I am joined by lead singer, lyricist, and bass player Vox of the Chameleons, who are going to be playing some live shows. But let's talk about these 2 EPs that we've been able to listen to. And this is to gear us up for an album coming up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, in fact, we're just in the process of putting the final touches to the mixes before we deliver it, yeah.
Oh, so do you have a date for when it's going to drop?
Not an exact date, but we were told we deliver by the end of this month for a late August, early September release.
Okay. One of the EPs is songs that you guys started back in 1981.
Yeah.
They were shelved. What kind of format were they shelved in? Like, did you have recordings of these or was it on paper?
No, we did actually. We demoed a couple of them. They were on the very first demos that we made, but they were amongst the first songs that we ever wrote. Of that kind of batch of songs, Things I Wish I'd Said and Fan and the Bellows ended up being on the first Peel session, and then they got discarded really, and they came out as retrospectives later on when they started scraping the bottom of the barrel for things to put out. But they weren't really finished, they weren't. We just didn't really feel at the time. I don't know why. I can't remember. I remember saying to Reg when we were recording these songs, "Why did we never play these songs?" He's like, I don't know. I never played them. So it started out to be part of a 2-night stand in Manchester when we did a history of the band from the very early times to right up until 2001, I think it was.
Okay.
So we wanted to put them in as a kind of a special thing. We ended up kind of finishing them really, and then we liked the results so much we decided to record them. They were going to come out here in Berlin as an underground thing. A friend of mine had as an underground label here. He wanted to do it, but it kind of got bogged down in things. I don't know really what happened. And Metropolis wanted to do the digital release, so we gave it to them, and then we ended up pressing it ourselves in time for a January tour, just to keep some momentum going until we could get the new album finished. Nostalgia was one of the Lily tracks that we did when we did In Shreds, which that wasn't really supposed to come out either. I mean, again, it did eventually became, I think, an extra track on the second CD album. Something I'm not sure exactly, but Nathan's Phase was written and recorded specifically for a Capital Radio session that we did, and that's the only time we ever actually, recorded it in any kind of releasable way. It was broadcast on Capital Radio, and then we never really did anything with that either. So I just wanted, and I'd done it before with Vox. I kind of took Dally's Picture, which is another very early song, and finished that, and then Denny's and Curls wrote an ending for that and put that out. Where in the World, that was a Vox release when I was working with the guys from Vox. So I've done it before, and I find it interesting to do that sometimes, to kind of revisit ideas that you didn't really fully develop at the time and see if you can bring something fresh and new into it. And that's what we did really, and we're really happy with it. We thought it was great to see the new guys kind of get into it and give it their input. It was really cool, yeah.
You guys have a new sound. Did you find when doing those songs from 1981, the plan that you dug up was totally different from what you ended up with when it was finished?
Kind of was, yeah, because at the time when those songs were recorded and even when they were demoed, we hadn't really found the definitive sound that we came to be known for. We were still kind of looking for it, really. A lot of those early tunes have got a lot of flanger on it and stuff because we hadn't really got to grips with the kind of effects that we started to use that crafted the sound that Dave used, really. So it is kind of, they do sound a little bit more like Chameleons, I suppose, than they did originally, because it predates all of that. When we wrote these songs and when we got these songs together, it was before the first Peel session, that was what set everything in motion. So it's kind of a mixture. I think we felt it was close enough to where we were heading with the new ideas. Mm-hmm. It was just really interesting to do it. I think it came out really well. I think it's been, for the most part, really well received.
Yeah, you landed number 1 on iTunes top albums chart with that.
Did we? Wow, yeah. I didn't know that.
Glad I'm bringing you this news. And so you're getting younger audience, and as you see, the younger generation, they're right into, 80s clothes too. Have you saved any from back in the day that you can bring out on stage?
No, they won't fit me now. Well, that biker's jacket at Camden Palace was disintegrating during the show, so I don't think it would have lasted much longer anyway. No, I Do I have any? No, I don't actually. No, I don't.
No.
We don't have any of that stuff. I don't even think Reggie's still got his jumpers. His famous granddad jumpers. I don't think he's got those anymore either.
Well, hopefully he can get some new ones made.
Yeah,
his tour's coming up. So you guys have been very busy the last couple of years. You had a lot of shows to make up from the pandemic. You have these EPs. You've got a new album coming out. And this album, it's going to be called Arctic Moon. And first full length in 20 years. What took so long?
Oh, God, life. I've made records I've had various collaborations with the people. I've done a couple of solo things myself. And as far as Chameleons was concerned, Chameleons Vox wasn't really meant to be that kind of band. We formed it really just to play the legacy stuff. It was John's band originally, and he asked me to come back in and play Chameleon songs with him. So I was just doing that and it just kind of mushroomed, from something that was like casual to something a little bit more serious when Neil joined. But it wasn't really meant to. We weren't really meant to be taking the music forward. It was just a celebration of the legacy of the band. But when Reg came in, that changed. It changed because obviously he's my original writing partner, along with Dave. Obviously, Dave left the band 20 years ago, and sadly John's passed on. So that it's only me and Reg really left. And he came back into the band. It just seemed natural that we would start writing. And then the pandemic got in the way of that.
Yeah.
And everything shut down for 2 years, So it's just been like getting in the way, really. But it was good because when it finally did happen, all the right components were there for a band that could, feels like a real proper band. Everyone has an involvement. Everyone has an input. They're all integral to it. And with Danny on keyboards and Stephen now on guitar, and Todd's coming on drums, we feel we've got all the right components to take the music forward. So it was kind of fortunate, really. Unfortunate circumstances led to quite a fortunate outcome. Because by the time we were ready to really start properly, we had all the right things in place that we felt right now we've got a band we can take music forward with,
And as far as production of this new album, and where are you guys recording it?
In Manchester. Again, we're lucky in that our manager, Christoph, is also our producer.
Okay.
So he has a studio called Oxygen right on the edge of the city centre in Manchester, on the border of Manchester City Centre and Salford. And we've been working there quite a lot. We've done everything that we've done in the last couple of years. We've done there, and he was very keen, obviously to right from the offset. I mean, even before he became more involved in the managerial side of things, he was very keen to get us in there to do a new record. So he's pushed us into it. And it's a great place to work. I mean, it's a tremendous, he built the live room, and it's a really great live room to record in. Spirit of Destiny as well, I've been in there recently, and a certain ratio, I've just done a record there, I think. I've done a couple, I think.
The artwork on the EPs, how's that inspired, and what are you looking at doing for the new album?
That's Reg. Reg does most of the artwork for the records, and it's just basically lets his imagination go whatever he comes up with. I don't think there's any real message in it. If there is, you'd have to ask him. I don't know. With the Where Are You EP, it was slightly different because it was a race against time to get. We specifically wanted to get it out by that May, and they needed artwork immediately. Reg didn't have anything ready, so I have a photographer called, I know a photographer who lives here in Berlin, works here in Berlin. I really like her stuff. I really like her work. And I saw that photograph, which I thought was provocative and evocative, and asked her if I could use it. So that was Agatha's photograph. It's herself. She photographed her own silhouette on the wall
cool.
by the Les Paul. Generally speaking, it's Reg, and Reg has done the artwork for the new album. I only saw the early drafts of it. I haven't seen the full colorized version yet, although I'm told it's ready. I'll see that when I get back to England. But in every single case, he's turned in something I thought I've really loved. I think he's got a very distinct style about it, and he's given us a very distinct style for our records all the way along the line.
So, in your sessions in the studio, has there been someone there like capturing this? Like, do you think later on you could make a documentary or about the Chameleons?
I thought about doing that, but the thing is, it's such an intimate thing. Nobody felt comfortable. Reg doesn't like being photographed at the best of times, so you put a camera on him and he starts to get weird. So no, we haven't really done any filming around it. I think we just went in and got on with the music and just thought about that, really. We haven't really thought about doing any kind of film like that. we were just too focused on the music, really.
And you'll have lots of that to bring us. You have live shows coming up. You got one in Toronto at the Opera House Monday, April 28th. That's pretty close to us. Now you're supporting the Psychedelic Furs.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the Mission had to pull out. We're really sad for them because they're all really good friends of ours. After we toured with them the other year, we became really good friends, and then we're sad for them. But yeah, it came. I think it came via their manager. I think put us threw our names in the hat for when they had to pull out of it. So we're excited about that. Obviously, that's going to be great. I think we're looking forward to it. But obviously, the circumstances are a bit sad. Yeah.
Right. So supporting Psychedelic Furs, you're going to be at Caesars Windsor July 3rd. So that's close to us. Are we going to be hearing some of the new songs from the album?
I dare say so. I would hope so. Yeah. I mean, until we actually get together and rehearse it, who can say? But that's always been a concern of ours, is that we don't have the new songs all over YouTube before the album's actually out, because it kind of spoils it a little bit. It's very different sounding as well, which is, going to be interesting. So I think it's the most accessible thing that we've done. But at the same time, it's definitely us. I mean, people who've been around us since the beginning have heard it and went, oh, yeah, it's great. It's obviously Chameleons, but it is different. There is a maturity in the writing here, which is, I suppose, natural given our age now. But I mean, there is a maturity in the writing, and we're known to be like a post-punk band. And is this really post-punk? I don't know. I really don't know. But I think we've always been a tricky band to categorise anyway. Even back in the day, they didn't really know where we fit anywhere, And that's probably going to continue to be the case. But I mean, we love what we're doing. We're excited, and that's the only criteria that we can use. But will we play some on the tour? I mean, I would certainly hope we'll play something, yeah. Because we're excited. I mean, we want to play it, we don't want it all over YouTube before the album's out. That's the reality that we live in now. Back in the day, on the first 3 records or whatever, even on the 4th one, that wasn't such an issue. But these days, it's on YouTube before you've even put that line down. Before you finish the gig, you got the stuff back in the van. It's on YouTube. So, we're kind of wary of that a little bit. So we'll have to balance it. We'll see.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you at these shows.
I particularly love coming to Canada. Coming up into Canada is always a great time and a great experience and a great pleasure. So I'm really looking forward to that very much. In fact, our keyboard player spent the last... Because his partner's from Vancouver. He's been in Vancouver now, I think, for the last couple of months. But he's already there. He's already up there, Danny. Yeah. Well, I think we start off in Minneapolis in the US, so he's having to come down, obviously, and meet us there. But he's really loving Canada, man. He doesn't want to come back to Europe.
Well, all the best, and make sure you get lots of rest in between shows, because you're going to rock out, and you got that younger audience now to keep up with.
I know. I mean, it's great to see them. It's really, really cool. See so many young people coming. It's great.
Well, thank you so much, Fox, for taking the time with me today.
Yeah, nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, and have a great tour.
Thank you very much.